Greetings, all! Today, we will be examining the uncommon Dark Ice-type Pokemon Sneasel and its relatively rare evolution Weavile, the two collectively known as the Sharp Claw Pokémon. Fast on their feet and cruel with their intentions, the members of the Sneasel family are potent little pack hunters that can make the life of any prey they choose to set their sights on completely miserable.
Sneasel have lithe, bluish-black bodies with two sharp white claws on each of their limbs and a sprig of 3 red tail markers on the posterior. They have an oval yellow marking on their chest and forehead, and bold red eyes perch above their fang-filled mouth, with uneven ears, a single black ear on their right side and a larger red one on the left, the red ear being larger in males than in females. The evolved form Weavile have a more purplish tinge to their fur, with 3 white claws on each of the limbs and 2 tail markers on the posterior. Both of their ears are now red, being shorter in females compared to males, and they are distinguished readily by the larger crest of red fur on their forehead that gives the appearance of wearing a colorful headdress, as well as a red collar of fur around their neck. Although Sneasel and Weavile are recognized to be ice types, the ability to actually utilize their own typing is fairly limited and rather poor in light of their other powers. The reasoning behind this issue has been the subject of much debate for some time, but it is quite likely that this may simply be an adaptation to living in warm climates such as forests. Sneasel and Weavile thought to have originally lived in cold climates, but only gradually branched out into more temperate forested areas sometime since the end of the last major ice age. As such, they only have access to an exceptionally weak icy wind attack for stab offense on that note, and are only able to diversify this at least slightly to include an ice shard attack after evolution, as well as a red collar of fur around their neck.
Instead, these creatures mainly rely on their sharp claws to deal damage in battle, and are particularly adept at using them for both surprise and devastation in close quarters. Though they are not strong enough as Sneasel to pierce the hides of prey like a lowland sandshrew without breaking their claws against their hardened hide.
These beasts are anatomically gifted in that their claws can be retracted and extended very quickly as a result of a spring-like muscle system that stores and releases elastic potential energy very quickly. This can allow them to startle friends and foes alike by suddenly extending their claws, in turn giving them the chance to gut their opposition before any counterattack can be made. Sadly, they are unable to learn a wide variety of powerful attacks when young, even with this advantage and a decently high base attack stat, so they more often than not have to rely on their incredible movement speeds to win most battles.
Moreover, Sneasel are normally unable to evolve and remain much as they are from the moment they are born. Under certain conditions, however, these creatures can and will evolve.
The claws of Weavile are renowned for their exceptional sharpness and capacity to instantly inflict frostbite if they strike soft flesh, but what few actually realize is that they can remain solid and perfect for many decades after the original beast actually dies. In conventional terms, these trinkets become known as razor claws shortly after their owner's death and are a perfectly legal trade item because of their unique properties. If a Sneasel holds a razor claw and trains extensively during the night, they can mentally get in touch with their evolutionary past, which in turn triggers a very sudden and rapid mutation within their cells that causes them to evolve into Weavile. This sudden change heavily increases both their offensive and defensive capabilities as well as their movement speeds, but more importantly, notably changes the type of moves they can learn, acquiring access to the Ice Shard, Fling, Nasty Plot, Night Slash, Dark Pulse, Revenge, and Assurance moves, all of which play perfectly to their sneaky tactics and group mentality.
Not surprisingly, the cunning and focused nature of Sneasel allows these creatures to possess inner focus and keen eye and space abilities, while their evolved form is more well known for its intimidating presence and instead has access to pressure as its only base ability. Both, though, are notorious thieves and can in turn have access to the pickpocket ability as a hidden ability.
As far as their stats are concerned, in the case of Weavile, these creatures more than live up to their talents in that they are able to strike fast and hard with their physical attacks, the base attack and speed stats being above average for a fully evolved Dark and Ice-type Pokemon, and are able to take special hits better than you might think, having an above average base special defense stat for a fully evolved Dark-type Pokemon. Everything else, though, is below average, so while they can't really take a hit all that well or strike from afar effectively in most cases, these vicious mammals can more than prove themselves to be a serious threat to have to contend with in close quarters.
Sneasel are notorious for their wicked demeanors and the lack of compassion towards other life forms. To Sneasel, the only thing that really matters is survival, even if it means hurting the survival of another species in order to do so.
While Sneasel are known to ambush and hunt a fairly wide variety of small game under the cover of night where the black fur hides them well, their favorite food is bird eggs, particularly the eggs of Pokemon like Pidgey. Sneasel will oftentimes wait until a parent bird Pokemon leaves the nest to search for food before using their spring-loaded claws to slowly punch holes in the bark of the tree and climb up towards the unprotected nest, piercing through the shells of the eggs with their claws before slurping the insides out. In the case of larger bird Pokemon, Sneasel may occasionally work together to obtain their food by having one Sneasel act as a distraction while the other retrieves the eggs, though they rarely may in turn end up fighting with each other over who actually gets to eat the eggs. Needless to say, Sneasel are seen as a scourge by bird Pokemon and especially breeders who actively drive away or eradicate the beasts on sight. Despite their vicious natures, Sneasel have no trouble working with members of their own species and often do things fair and square with one another, proving the old adage, thick as thieves. It is likely this is done as yet another way of enhancing survival, as Sneasel are defensively weak and unable to protect themselves from being seriously harmed by most evolved Pokemon unless they have safety in numbers.
Wild Weavile are still very much adapted to cold environments and are currently believed to only exist in a natural setting within the icy lands of the Sinnoh and Galar regions and Mount Lanakila of the Alola region.
Weavile are exceptionally intelligent creatures that rarely ever go out on their own, preferring instead to travel in packs of 4 or 5 as a way of making sure that any potential meal, regardless of its size or power, can be taken down swiftly. Vulpix and Sandshrew being particular favorites in the Alola region and Mamoswine in the Galar region, though the latter generally requires effective teamwork to take down. Weavile never bicker over food like Sneasel occasionally do, instead being masters at group tactics and being able to coordinate their actions surprisingly well despite their incredible movement speeds, in turn making them extremely dangerous to even get near. In addition, they show a sense of respect and fairness towards each other, as any food that they catch is always equally divided among all group members. Moreover, it seems that the species has had enough time in isolation to develop their own form of written language within their native lands, carving over 500 various messages into the sides of trees and even boulders in an attempt to communicate with those they can otherwise not see directly. Translations of these symbols have shown the existence of a fairly complex culture that has apparently only developed within the past several centuries, being distinctly different between Weavile and the different regions they occupy no less, which is unlikely to have happened if isolation had not been a factor in their survival. As such, the native Weavile populations of the Sinnoh, Alola, and Galar regions have been put under full environmental protection in an effort to keep the population isolated in the hopes that scientists will eventually be able to witness the development of a full-blown society and perhaps even some form of politics within the species. Such an advancement would effectively eliminate the notion that only creatures as smart or advanced as humans can create politically driven societies.
Though they might not always be able to take a hit or strike from afar with the greatest of power, the members of the Sneasel family are good at what they do and can easily prove to be potent thieves worth looking out for in any confrontation. The dark-type powers they are gifted may be more of a presence than any icy powers they can acquire naturally, but if you're looking for a little powerhouse that can hit fast and hard to emphasize just that, you won't find much better than these mammalian monsters.
Just do yourself a favor and try not to keep anything like eggs from them for yourself. They might be willing to share with those that help in thievery, but that doesn't mean they'll treat you nicely with their sharp claws if you aren't willing to share yourself.
Thank you all for watching this video. It is always a pleasure to help teach others about the world of Pokemon and the many facets of it that exist in both the world we call home and the world they call home. If you'd like, please leave a comment and subscribe and ring the bell to this channel to get regular updates on content and anything else that might be going on. You can find me and my written work on DeviantArt under the name Utitus and be informed of information and content uploads on my Twitter page and my Patreon page. Donations are always welcome. Always remember, the world of Pokemon is a vast and varied place, and there's no telling what secrets might be hiding just around the corner. So keep watch, stay vigilant, and always prepare for the unexpected. Until next time, have a wonderful rest of the day.